Oof. Okay. That took me like, what, half an hour maybe to like figure out how to film this. But anyways, I have Always You, AROHA Union playlist, streaming playlist playing in the background. Anyway, so each sheet in each box for every member is numbered. So this is sheet 1 out of 3. So the first sheet's always their head and their ears, you know. So some are a little easier to get out, but so sometimes it comes apart really easily. But for some areas like this, oh my gosh, it doesn't, so you gotta be a little careful when you're trying to get them out. So here we are having a little problem with Sanha, but like, at least it's the back, not the front. So let's get this whole thing out first. I usually leave the ears for later. So put that aside, and then I'm gonna fix this before we start. So I'm not gonna try ripping it, I'm just gonna carefully cut off this little bit that ripped off. So like this is gonna be on the inside anyways. So, and on the side I'm covered by hair, so you won't even really notice it. But yeah, so luckily it was on the back, not the front. Okay. So when I do these, I like to fold everything first. There is an instruction sheet with every box about which way to fold, depending on if there are any lines on the sheet here. So sometimes there's like a dotted line at certain folds. That means you would fold inwards. But if there isn't, all the other folds are just folding outwards. So because on the sheet with the head, there were no dotted lines at any of the folds, all of these folds will be going outwards. So I like to start with these these triangular shaped ones because they're a little harder to fold properly, because the inside part is harder to fold. So when you're folding these, some are really easy to fold down, and then some are a little more difficult. Yeah. So that's how that one looks. So just do the same here. And flaps. So yeah, like this one's a little harder to fold. So if you're doing this for the first time, you might want to go a little slower, but this is my 6th one, so I'm doing this pretty quickly because I've gotten a hang of it. And if you ever feel like you start folding something, you're not sure if that's where the line is, you can always look at the back because the line's a lot more clear. I hope everything's filming okay because I can't see the camera. Okay. Alright, so once I've got everything folded, that's when I start getting the glue out. So what I'm using is craft glue, all-purpose craft glue. I had just had this lying at home. In no way was this specifically picked out. I don't know what glue is the best for this. But the key is not to use too much glue when you're gluing every little tab or area. So I've just been putting glue on a piece of cardboard here. And I find applying glue is easiest when you're using a brush. So this brush is actually for fabric paint, not for glue. I'm thinking there are probably brushes just for glue, but this has been working pretty well for me. It's better if the brush is smaller, so that you can be more precise with where you're putting the glue. And it's best if you can find a brush that can wash off the glue easily. So it's probably better if you get a glue that can get washed off by water so you don't ruin the brush. So after doing this for a while, I learned that it's best to go by the numbers on the tabs. So A1 is where we would start. So I got a little bit glue, so I don't get a lot of glue on my brush at first, so just a tiny bit. You might not really be able to see that. So, and then you just brush it on lightly, and then you want to place it where you want it to stick. And you're gonna, at least with my glue, you just have to hold it for like about 5 to 10 seconds. So because I don't put too much glue on, it dries a lot faster. So sometimes I have to be very quick in how it dries, or else it kind of stays that way. And the more glue you put on, the more it'll be more wet and it might not dry as nicely. So that's why it's very important how much glue you use. So if you're doing this for the first time, do it slowly. You want to make sure you line these up pretty well too. Oh my god. And then the thing about using your fingers is you want to be careful not to get, like if you get glue on your fingers, you want to make sure you don't get it on the outside of the paper, because even if it dries clear, you can kind of see it sometimes reflect in the light. So if you do get glue on the outside, try to get it off as soon as possible, or just try not to get it on the outside of the paper. Okay, so I did 1, 2, and then 3. This one is a little harder to align, but I try to align these corners with these corners here. Okay. Oh no. No. Sometimes it might not fit as well there, so a little bit further up might work better. I think my glue just stopped sticking. Oh no. Of course it has to be when I'm filming something, right? Okay. Let's try this again. Try to be as even as possible. Okay. So I am using my fingers. My fingers are pretty slim. So if you have bigger hands or fingers, I mean, you can still try to see without glue, just see how you maneuver around it. But you may or may not want to use tweezers, but if you use tweezers, I recommend using a dull pair so you don't less likely to poke a hole through the paper. Okay. So A4 is actually all 4 of these tabs. So what I do is I would quickly put glue on all 4 areas. And then try to align everything. So this one can be a little tricky because these 2 flaps have to align with this, which is not completely straight. It's a little how do I describe? Just a small little corner. Oh my god. Yeah, so you're gonna wanna find a place where it stays the way you want it and just hold it for a few seconds. And at the same time, try flattening it around the edges together. I don't know if flattening is the right word, but making sure it sticks flat together, I guess. Oh, okay, that's not completely dry yet. Okay. Or maybe I need more glue there. So be careful when you're trying to put glue into places like that. Anyways, so I want it to dry flat together. Oh my god. Apparently I'm not very good at this gluing anymore. Okay. So yeah, right now this is how it's looking. Got his face, got the sides, and I do realize now here that I did glue the bottom part a little bit too far up because there's a little bit of flap here. That's okay, because no one's going to see that. Okay, so I'll just do the other side, same deal, 4 flaps. Cannot talk. Flaps. All A5. Put glue on them. Do the same thing as I did the other side. A little too much glue. So the good thing about the head is if you mess up a little bit anywhere on the sides, the back, it won't, or the top, it won't really matter, or even like little corners here, because the hair will cover it. Anyways, that is the head. Okay, so I leave the ears for later because I do the hair first. So there are two pieces for the hair: the front part of the hair, the rest of the hair, and then the pants for the like bottom half of their body on the second sheet. So I always do the hair first, the rest of the hair first. I think the part I hate the most about making these dolls is taking them out of this. Like a kid. I'm just afraid I'm gonna break something. Okay, put that aside. And again, for this sheet, there was nothing that had dotted lines along the fold, so everything is folded outwards. So I'm just gonna do the folding again. So the hardest part about folding the hair is the sideburns, kind of. I messed up on MJ's, I think. Yeah, MJ's. Yeah, I messed up on MJ's on one side, so it didn't look right. Just didn't look good enough to me. Sorry, I can't see. Okay. May or may not have messed up on one of Sanha's segments. We will see. Sometimes I think I messed up, but I didn't. Folding them tabs, tabs, flaps, I don't know what to call them. Yeah, seriously, some of these are just harder to fold. Okay, focus on this. title songs come up, you know, I just automatically want to do fan chants or sing along. Mostly fan chants. Sorry, I'm new to filming stuff like this. Like, sorry if I'm like out of the frame. Any reason whatsoever. Oh gosh. Okay. So again, every little part has numbers, so I just go in order. So yeah, sometimes though, like when I was first making MJ's toy stamp, I actually didn't go in order of numbers. But I feel like I should have. But if you feel like there's a better way for you to make the toy stamps instead of following the numbers, then do that. But personally, I found going by the numbers helped more than just trying to figure it out from scratch. Baby. Yeah, baby. Libana. Baba. Okay, so I just finished number 4 here. So there are actually quite a few, there's a few flaps here, 3, that are numbered 5. So there's 1, 2, 3. So I don't actually do them all at once. I think I just do one first. I'll do this one first. Okay. Okay, now the trick with the hair is that you can't finish the hair first, then put the head in. You have to put the head in before you finish the hair, and that was the mistake I made with MJ. Alright, and this, once I put the head in, make sure you put the face the right way too. Then I start gluing the other flaps. To be honest, I think you could probably glue these two before you put the head in. Alright. And that gets a little trickier. Once you glue 5, then 6 gets a little harder to put in. Or glue after. And 6 is these 2 flaps in here. And you want to just make sure they line up before they stick forever. And then number 7 is over here. Don't forget about that one. And then personally, because the head is still kind of loose in here, I like to glue at least the back to the head. So what I like to do is, there is a little space that my brush can go into. I like to put the glue onto the head and then align it by pulling on the chin here with the bottom of the hair and then have it stick in place. Can be a little tricky sometimes. Okay. Right. And then after that, I grab the ears. So I don't actually use glue for every single thing. So for example, the ears, I don't use glue. So you're gonna have to look for, there's a little slit in here that you can just push the ears into. Make sure you get it, or else you're gonna accidentally fold the ears. So once you put the ears in, sometimes the side part of the hair will stay where it should stay. Yeah. So I like to have the bottom of these hairs, of the hair at the side. Oof, oh my god, out of frame. Out of frame, okay. So I put the ears in. One ear, the other ear. So usually, once I put the ear in, the bottom part of the hair at the side will basically align with the side of the face. But if it doesn't and starts like flapping, like if it's too far away from the head, I might glue it. But in Sanha's case, it might be okay. I'm not sure yet. I might have to glue one side. We'll see. So once I got the ears in, I'll take out the front part of the hair. That aside. So because this hair is a little more visible, things happen. Because of how it comes out of the paper, there's like little white parts. So I like to try and get rid of that carefully with scissors. It doesn't show. This part's optional. If you're afraid of doing this, don't do it. I don't know if I can do that one. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And once you're done with that, take the head. Oof. Yeah. Might need more glue. Oh, hold on. You might ask why I don't use the squeezy top part. Because it's clogged with glue. Yeah. Anyway, so get some glue. Basically only in the white area. I kind of outline. And then just a little bit in the middle parts here. And then I align the top part of the hair with the top part of the head. Just press down, make sure, not too hard, but just make sure it'll stick. And that's the head. Okay, so after I finish the head, I continue with the second page, taking out the bottom half of the body. This aside. Okay. So with the bottom half, because you know there's supposed to be legs, there's this middle part that's also supposed to come out. Take that out. Alright. So again, there is nothing on the sheet with dotted lines at the folds, so everything folds outwards again. And yeah, so I'm just gonna fold stuff. The most important part about the legs is making sure they're flat at the bottom so that they can actually stand up properly. So again, just start at 1 and glue stuff. When I'm gluing things, I like to press on both sides if possible. Obviously, at some points, it's not possible. Anyway, I say legs are important because I have a MJ, Unu, and Bini are very susceptible to falling over if I move my dresser too much. I don't know if it's just because of how I place the body or the head, or the fact that they also have hats makes them more unstable. But yeah, I always have to be careful. Tinu and Aki are so far the most stable. But they also don't have hats. Now once you finish the head, the rest does not actually take too long. Except for Unu, because he has an extra layer of clothes. So for Unu, I guess I'll talk about it when I get to the clothes part. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'll wait. But yeah, extra layers of clothes take longer. And then 5 has 3 flaps here. Sorry if I'm sighing, I'm tired. It is currently 9:40 p.m. on a weekday. I have to wake up tomorrow morning for work. So just want to make sure you align these well. And those are the pants / bottom of body. So they stand pretty stable. And then next, I like to do the shirt. It's usually on the 3rd page. And then the 4th page of some of them is usually the hat. I forget if Uno had 4 or 5 pages, because he has an extra layer of clothing. Hold on. YouTube thinks I'm not watching anymore. Anyways, there we go. It's gotta be so difficult. Same thing again. Okay, so this one's a little different. So if you see here, before I took it out, there are dotted lines here. So we want to make sure that for this fold, we fold in, not out. And then sometimes you can't really see, especially with Sanha's shirt here, but these shoulder corners also need to be folded, but not necessarily glued. So for most of my toy stamps, I have been gluing them. But for Rocky, I decided not to. So I might not for Sanha either. It's not necessary. So here, this is where you want to fold inwards. And everything else is outwards. So these parts are important. These two folds are not the most, this one especially, the most obvious that you need to fold. But it basically gives the shape of your shoulders, so those are important. And with the folds, you don't always have to fold all the way, but just enough that there's a shape. Okay. So, again, following numbers. C1. So the reason we fold in for the one part was so that there could be shape here. See how it's shaped like in and then out? That's why you want to fold it on that one part. So for Unu, here's the inside shirt, which you would make just like this. But then there's the outside shirt, which makes it a little trickier because you gotta do the same kind of thing you do with the head and hair. Like once you finish making this inside shirt for Unu, before you finish gluing everything for the outside shirt, you have to put the inside shirt inside. And what I found with Unu's inside shirt, outside shirt, after I put it in, how I, for the head, I glued this part to like make it stay together. With his shirt, you don't actually have to do that. I don't know if you heard that, but that was my neighbor. Yeah, that's the one, that's the trick with Unu's shirt. Yeah, Sanha's shirt's a little harder because there's so many lines. Okay. So I almost missed the whole side. Oh my gosh. So you want to make sure those little shoulder flaps are inside. The last part of this body here is these. I might need more glue. I mean, it looks like I still have glue, but it's like half dry, so. Oh, shit. Please excuse my language. Oh my god. Oh goodness. Okay. You want to align all of that. Right now it's hide and seek that's playing. Oh my god. And that's the shirt without arms. Okay, so now we've got pants, shirt, and a head. Woohoo! Okay, so next part, I like to put these three body parts together. So I normally start by putting this on top of this. So similarly to how I did the front part of the hair, I first outline the white square around there. And just put a little pin in the middle. Make sure when you glue this that this part is the shoe, so that should be facing the front. You want to make sure it's facing the front. And you just try and line up the bottom part in that white square. Press down a bit so it glues as flatly together as possible. also test to make sure it'll stand properly. Very important. Okay. And then once that's done, it's stuck. And I stick the body to the head. Same thing, keeping the glue. So I choose to put the glue on here because it's easier to see when I'm trying to glue something on. I don't know, I just find it better. Again, make sure front and front. And try to align it as much as possible. A little worried there. It was unstable and wouldn't stay. No. Sanha stands. Okay. Sometimes it's the feet that need to get folded a little more again. Sanha stands. Okay, so now that Sanha is a whole body, grab the sheet number 3 again and take the arms out. Every time I hear again, it takes me back to one day I came to Toronto. Very emotional because I got free IP tickets and really right up at the stage when they performed this. And lucky and being dance break. Oh my god. The memories. Oh my god. So, yeah. So again, just folding first. Oh, and also for the arms, literally, the only place where you fold inwards is the shirt. Everything else you fold outwards. Okay. So another thing is for the members that have hats, once you finish making the hat, what I've done is I don't even glue the hat to the head. I just kind of place it to get the head into the hat, but I don't glue the hat onto the head. It just kind of just stays there. So then sometimes you can take the hat off, you know, like a real doll. And wait. Finish folding, then you start gluing. 10 comes to 4 once. So these numbers actually continue on from the shirt. That's why it doesn't start at 1. So the part with the arms, what you want to make sure is that these lines here match up with these lines. You're gluing them together. My pinky can fit in here, but not everyone's pinky can. So, after I finish gluing those two together, I glue the other one. 11. Again, making sure these lines line up. Line up as best as you can. Okay. So now I got two arms that are not attached to a body. So one size is 12, 13, so you just match it 12, 13. So like when I first did MJ, I didn't know that, so I kind of referred to the photo. You want this side to be facing outwards, the front. So then I like to put glue on this square rectangle. It's a rectangle, it's not a square. And then just do your best to line things up and glue together. And I don't push too hard. I push like with enough strength, but like kind of lightly. So then it'll stick together nicely. Yeah. So Sanha's arm has been glued on. Next arm. After this arm, we're done. Okay. On this arm. And we're done. Woohoo. And he stands up. All right. That's it. Bye-bye.